Hello friends on YouTube, this is Nathan Lawrence, Good News Tree Service in Wilsonville, Oregon. And yesterday I had the opportunity of a lifetime to meet a person that I've admired and followed their work and helped attend their gardens for the last better part of 30 years. I'm talking about the renowned Japanese landscape garden designer Hoichi Kurisu, one of the foremost landscape, if not the foremost landscape designer in North America. I'm standing in front of one of his creations, and I had a chance to meet him here yesterday and interview him. Stay tuned. In my book, as a professional aesthetic pruning arborist for the last 40 to 50 years, I started when I was a child. I've had a business for nearly 40 years as a tree care company. Hoichi Kurisu has been an amazing inspiration to me. I first learned about him about 45 years ago, became an admirer and a great respecter of him and his work 40 years ago. And about 30 years ago, I began as an arborist who specializes in pruning, aesthetically pruning in the Japanese style. About 30 years ago, I began to help tend his gardens. He is originally from Japan, but he has resided in the Portland, Oregon area for many decades. And he has designed many gardens in this area, including the one that I'm taking this video from. This property was in the Street of Dreams, the Portland, Oregon area Street of Dreams in 1984, 40 years ago. And I actually watched when I was in my mid-20s, early to mid-20s, I watched this garden take shape with him designing it, including the big pine tree that is behind me, the maple trees and the pine tree, which I watched get put in via a crane with him directing it back in 1984, never dreaming that I would be tending this property later on for the last 4 owners of it, including that pine tree. Anyway, Hoichi Kurisu was educated in Japan, and he was actually the director of the construction of the Japanese garden, the world famous Japanese garden in Portland, Oregon. Considered by many to be the top Japanese garden in North America, or certainly one of the top, if not the top. He directed its construction in the 1960s and early 70s, and he was one of its first curators. And then he went on to design and build many, many more Japanese gardens, both private residential gardens like the one I'm looking at here, standing in front of right here, as well as in the 1970s he went on to design some of America's top Japanese gardens. If you go and Google Japanese gardens, or you look at his Wikipedia page, you will see some of the top gardens that he has designed that are number 1 in America, or the top of the list, the top 10, including the Anderson Japanese Garden in Rockford, Illinois, and the Richard and Helen DeVos Japanese Garden which is part of the larger Frederik Meijer Garden in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so I've admired his work because I've been working in his gardens, quite a few of them actually, but never met the man. Well, yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet him at a client's house. They brought him in for a consultation to maybe help restore and bring back to some of its full glory and to expand the Japanese garden, this Japanese garden right here that I'm standing in, that he designed and built 40 years ago. So I was invited to be part of the tour and part of the consultation. And afterwards, I had the privilege of interviewing him. Please enjoy. Let's see, what do I want to ask you first? The Japanese gardeners are the best gardeners on the planet.
Do you think so?
I do. Well, there's Japanese gardens everywhere. Everywhere I travel, South America, Europe, the US, Canada, places I've gone, there's Japanese gardens. And as an expert aesthetic pruner myself, and having been in this business of pruning and tree work, I don't see any, and having visited many gardens, I don't see anything more exquisite and more beautiful than a Japanese garden. And look at, I haven't been to Japan, but what is the essence of a Japanese garden that makes it so unique? I know you could talk for hours on this, but very quickly, that makes it so admired and honored throughout the world.
Well, it's that question is Japanese gardens as long as back to the 8th century is since then as a record is showing developing samurai era and feudal road area and Edo period and Taisho period, and it's go through the centuries, and intuitively they kind of discover the beauty and the balance of the garden, which is Japanese garden is of course not the balance of the symmetrically the balance, but the asymmetrical, which is more natural, not the human made balance, is nature's balance to creating there. That's one of the things people enjoying, the emptiness in a way, and even this pathway is rock formation to combine with the plants, and that's some give you some kind of not empty, it's nothing, but it's actually you feel you go into it, that kind of space. Also, pruning is, as you know, just like think about the Japanese dishes. You can see the sashimi dishes is a tuna and the yellow tuna and whatever different, there's a snapper, whatever is individually nice way arranged. Is the Japanese garden's material borders, each individual tree is enhancing itself to bring out the beauty of the individual trees. So that's the, it's not all together, mixed up the beauty. It's the Japanese gardens is one of the principle is border is border, and the shrub is shrub, and trees. Each one try to enhance its own beauty. That's, you don't go together everything like some rice over the gravy on the top of it, not like that. So that's the one of the principle of the Japanese gardens. That's people enjoys individually to look at and feel it and experience it. That's the, I think one of the not the whole thing, so that one of the people fond of it, and much more beauty to eyes only, but also is a feeling to something inside. That's the important part.
What is that feeling inside that connects people when they walk into a Japanese garden? They just feel this peace, this sublimity. There's something very special. What do you think goes on in the inside?
I think I'm, nowadays I'm just, expressing that it's the Japanese garden's important part is the human and the nature be one. We are togetherness. It's not only the picture on the wall. It's you are with the nature. It's a oneness with nature. That feeling is, any kind of, give you in the inside is comfort. Is you're not alone. Look at the beautiful shelves. It's not to the outside. It's not inside you are finding the beauty. So I think that much more right now is world needs the consciousness, you might say, and but like you have to be really good job and tell the people how important it is.
So several years ago, you designed the garden in the Oregon State Penitentiary, and that is a very healing place. So this is, in a sense, would you say maybe the Oregon State Penitentiary is kind of like a microcosm of the world, and here is this beautiful place that people who are broken and hurting and looking for joy or peace in a certain way can go and in this crazy world and find something inside, something beautiful?
Well, it's you touch the core of the sort of the appreciation of the nature. Is in order to, as I said, to be with oneness with nature, is you yourself and the creator himself yourself has to be the feeling you have to have be oneness with nature, otherwise you cannot create. The penitentiary's job is both is people want to have something which is AIC you call it now is a prisoner, is they don't have anything in the heart, only has is something want to do for the people, for my friend, which is in the 2,000 inmate there, and they are even in the prison they are fighting together, and but it's they want to have be friend together, friend something to do something for the people. That desire in the heart connected with nature, and also they asked to do something. Nature something is calling up other people, other landscapers. They first things they say, how much you have money? It's not. They don't have anything, but they want to do something. And here fortunately, I catch the moment. Let's do it. We can do anything for you, kind of thing. And their desire want to do something. We are, I think you knew, our mission is a healing garden ourselves together. And so emptiness is of the heart to the beauty, and with be nature with it. That feeling is you have to have human's agony in your heart. You cannot receive that things. You have to be empty the human agony. Any pride or anything from the heart, then you start to see what the beauty is. And 20th centuries, those guys, they didn't have anything in the heart. They cannot do anything. There's no cell phone, TV, even the phone call. But they want to do something. Other human things they didn't have inside, but only desire, pure desire. That's meet together. That's the meaning of that garden.
What would be the advice? It's very difficult for people like me here in the West to learn Tsukashi, even Niwaki, but especially Tsukashi style pruning. We don't have people to teach us. We have to learn. How I have learned little by little. How would you recommend a young person to begin to learn to do this kind of pruning, aesthetic pruning in the Japanese style?
Oh, of course, there's a technically is a lot of things to do. It's actually it's a base is you have to cultivate for the feeling of the beauty of the trees, and before you start the pruning, you study the trees. Very good example is a lace leaf maple. Over here is one red ball like this, right? But if you look up underneath there is nice trunk. Is a structure there. If you catch the beauty and then start to show the inside the beauty with nice foliage, see through it. So actually is the pruner, you might say, study the trees, what is the beauty is, what should express that particular tree. What is the sense of the beauty have to have first. Just to go into the pruning, really has no time, so butcher it, and that's a pruning they call. But destroy the beauty instead of enhancing the beauty. So there's a lot of about the technique how to 2 leaves leave or or 3 leaves leave it, and instead of 12 trunk set, maybe 7 trunk set, something like that. And there's a technique, but that's based on how you see the beauty. You have to cultivate your beauty sense of that. Otherwise, you cannot do it.
One last question, if I may. In all of your years of designing gardens and all of that, how would I say this? What has brought you the greatest joy, the greatest sense of accomplishment, one thing or whatever that it keeps you, Hoichi Kurisu, going at your age and just going forward?
Yeah, you have a good question. Life great question. Why I have been still energized and want to do is I like the people see how the nature and you is oneness feeling. To see that, then as I said, is in order to feel that oneness with nature is you yourself, your human agony out. You cannot feel with, angry, jealousy, all kind of human things. Take it out, the more and the more you start to see, and you feel is oneness with nature. One tree or one rocks, you feel communicate with you. The world, you might say, that space in the heart has the tremendous power, tremendous inspiration, and I experienced myself. The people want to see that part. That's the keep going myself. And at least landscaper, at least see the highway. Until then, I cannot die. That's what keep going there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was more than 5 minutes, but
Yeah,
You had long-
you can receive the big bill.
yeah, but then you had long answers too. So